So guys, I know it's been a little while since I put a video up. We've had a lot going on here. It's been really cold here in Indiana. I've gotten a good little bit of snow a couple times. It's all pretty well gone now except for where it's piled up from plowing, but we've also had, I think everybody in the house has been sick at least twice this last month, so that's always fun. So yeah, we've had a lot going on, but so anyway, we're all well now for the most part. We're gonna do a little work on the four-wheeler today, see if we can't figure out what's wrong with it. Basically just carburetor rebuild, and we'll see what that does for us and bring you along.
Well, I don't know if you can see on the camera or not here, but I've got fuel dripping out of the carburetor overflow down onto the swing arm right here. Typically it's dripping a lot worse. It looks like it's not as bad at the moment, but we're gonna investigate. So first things first, we gotta get the seat off of it. These machines have a little release latch. There's a little cutaway in the plastic here. Pop that loose. Once we've got the seat off, we're gonna get this air box out of here so we can get to the carburetor. It's just one bolt on each side. I couldn't tell you what size these are supposed to be. I got this thing used and it does not have the same size bore on both sides here. And I have not gotten around to swapping one out for uniformity as of yet. Those out, this is going to just pull out. You got to come back first a little bit to get the little rubber boot off of the carburetor, and then you can kind of finagle it up out of there. Now the only thing holding the carburetor in is actually the clamp that holds the boot onto it. Other than that, we've got fuel line, throttle cable, and the choke cable that'll have to come off. The choke cable is in kind of an awkward spot, so it's a little easier to get it off after you've got the carb out. And the throttle cable, I'm actually going to just pull the whole cap off, the whole assembly. There's throttle assembly. And now a screwdriver. Once you've got this hose clamp loosened up enough, the carburetor will just pull right out of that boot. Now we can get at the choke linkage here. Pull that out. is fuel overflow for the bowl, which is going to come out with it, and the fuel line. Now, I forgot to go ahead and run. You should run the four-wheeler with the fuel shut off until it dies to make sure the carb bowl's empty and this line's emptied out. I meant to do that and I forgot. So at this point, it's a little late. So I'll plug that line off with a screwdriver. That way anything bleeding by doesn't go anywhere. And we'll go ahead and take this overflow line off and leave it here. Okay, so there's our rebuild kit. Hopefully I ordered the right one for this carburetor. I know these 400 two-strokes are all pretty much the same, so I should have the right parts here. But if not, we will just change what we can. So I think the key culprit is what's actually filling the bowl. Which is partially this little needle valve here is what lets fuel into the bowl. And I think it's continuing to allow fuel in even after the bowl's up to where it needs to be, which is causing it to just continue to overflow. We've got some other needle valves here. I think that goes to the throttle. Yeah. Not exactly sure what all of them are, but we'll figure it out. That's idle control, I believe. First things first, though, we need to get into the bowl to get to that valve that I was talking about. We've got 4 screws here to take out. This four-wheeler's also been having an issue where it wants to kind of bog down and die on me. It's fine as long as you're going, but as soon as you stop and try to start going again, it wants to bog down like it's not getting enough fuel. I'm not 100% sure that that's the problem, but hopefully this carb rebuild will take care of that as well. We've got floats. These are what actually controls the flow into the carb bowl by moving this little float valve here, and that's the little needle I was talking about, and there's a seat for it in there, which is this piece, and it'll have a little gasket piece in there that actually serves as the seat to shut it off. So that's the main thing we're after in here. And what's holding that in is just a pin through here. If you look closely, you can see one side has a rim around it to stop it from going all the way through. So we'll just take a punch, drift it out that way. I think I need to invest in a gunsmithing kit so I can actually have some nice proper size punches for this. And it comes out pretty easily once you get it knocked free from the other side. So now we can pull this whole assembly out. There's the old one. And we'll want to make sure we keep this oriented the right direction so it goes back in right. And you can actually adjust, there's a little tab on here. You can bend it up or down to adjust what level the float actually keeps the bowl at. I wouldn't advise trying to adjust it though, because a little too far in either direction can really mess up the way it runs. And it's difficult to get it back where it needs to be. So we also need to pull this piece out. I'm not sure what size that is. I think the problem here, you probably can't see on camera, I think the seat itself, which is just a little piece of nylon or something here, is actually missing. Okay, comes with a little, I don't know if that's a crush washer gasket. So that whole deal goes in here. And then we'll just snug it up. Don't need to be extremely tight. It does look to be brass, so you try to go too tight, you're liable to damage it. Okay, so it turns out I was incorrect. I guess that's not the seat for the fill needle, so I'm not sure what that is. So we will move along. I don't know, I guess that needle just sits in that brass valve seat there. Just doesn't seem like it would seal up properly. Okay, I've got all the old gasket material removed. Maybe a tiny bit more in there. Ready for the new one. Go ahead and pull this out. Okay, so we can swap out the idle adjustment screw. If you're wondering what this line is, it's the oil feed line. This four-wheeler's actually got the oil pump removed. It went out, oil pump went bad, engine didn't get any lubrication, burned up the engine, so at this point I'm just mixing oil with the fuel. Don't have to worry about any issues that way. So we're going to take this idle speed screw, replace it. This one's not critical that you know how far it was in
because once we got it running, we can adjust that, fine tune it to where it wants to be. It's probably going to idle a little differently anyway. So we'll go ahead and pull that out. Now, all this does is actually, see how it's shaped. It pushes up against the throttle piston, and because of the angle there, either moves it up or down to increase or decrease the idle speed. So we got that. Got the new one. I thought we had a new spring for that, but I guess if we do, it's this one that's a little bit different. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how that looks. Nope. So I guess we will reuse this spring and thread this new one in. Kind of just estimate as to where it was before. Now the other piece we have is the air mix, which I believe is the one on the side here. This one is important to note where it's at before you take it out. You don't want it to be, if it's not where it was when you took it out, it's very difficult, from what I've heard, to get this adjusted back to where it needs to be to run properly. So easiest way to do that is screw it all the way in until it hits a stop, counting how many turns it takes, how many half, quarter turns, whatever, until you hit that stop, and then all the way out. Then you know how to go. Then with the new one, all the way until it hits the stop, and you know how far to back it out to have it right where it was before. Hey guys, so I'm gonna actually cut the video here for today. It's running a little bit longer than I thought it would, so we'll go ahead and cut it here. We'll pick back up tomorrow and finish it off. I appreciate you watching. If you liked the video, if you learned something, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, click the bell to get the notifications when I got something new out. If you did like it, if you learned something, go ahead and give that thumbs up. Otherwise, if you didn't like it, you know, you can do that thumbs down too, that's fine. And again, thanks for watching. Remember to check back tomorrow and we'll go ahead and we'll finish this up. Thanks. See you next time.